Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum. This is PMS, subject Social Studies, grade 7, lecture number 46. Today we will do explanation of chapter number 13, The Decline and Reawakening of the Muslims. Your book page is from 60 to 64. So open your books. Civilization and cultures seem almost organic. They start small, grow to maturity, and then decline and collapse or die. One thinks of the great empires of the past: Indus, Egyptian, Greek, Roman, Byzantine, and many other civilizations. It was the same with the Islamic civilization. The 19th century was the time of the rise of the European powers. The factors were the Industrial Revolution of the 18th and 19th centuries and the use of machinery in production, and the decline of the Muslims throughout Asia and Europe. The fall of the Ottoman Empire, Eastern Europe. Turkey is both in Europe and Asia, of the domination of British in Egypt and India, the French domination in the North African Muslim states, the European control of Muslim countries on the East African coast, Southeast Asia, and the Arabian Peninsula. What are the reasons for the colonization of these countries? The search for raw materials and natural resources, greed to earn more profit for the European powers on one hand, and also the strategic importance of some countries, for example, India, Turkey, Egypt, and now Iraq and Afghanistan. The other causes of the decline of the Muslim countries: cruelty of power-hungry rulers, ignoring education, endless wars, corruption, and infighting slowed down their growth to an alarming extent that by the end of the 19th century the Muslim world was completely under European control. How these countries became independent again. It was mainly because of the leadership that awakened and motivated them to rise and fight for their rights. Who were these people in the early 18th century? Prominent among them, the awakeners were Shah Waliullah and Sayyid Ahmad Shahid. They were religious figures and called upon the Muslims to develop into a strong and independent community. Shah Waliullah Shah Waliullah was far ahead of his time. He was more like a 20th century social reformer, using a more just society with more equal distribution of wealth and fair prices so that all could enjoy the products of the earth. He realized that common people were misunderstanding the path and moving away from it because of the misinterpretation by some others, and his translation of the Quran helped people to try to understand the religion. Shah Waliullah was born into a strict religious family, his father being a teacher at a madrasa in Delhi. He was educated here and later went on to study in Mecca, and he stayed there for 14 years. What did he feel after his return? The people of the subcontinent did not understand the Quranic teachings because they were in Arabic, a language they did not know. How did Shah Waliullah solve this problem? He translated the Holy Quran into Persian, which was then understood by most educated people. His sons later translated it into Urdu. Why did he want to reform the society, and how did he do it? He wanted the Muslims to regain their lost glory and to understand the teaching of Islam. He advised equality between the rich and the poor, fair distribution of wealth, discouraging dishonesty, peasants and workmen to be given fair wages, fair prices to be charged by the merchants, obedience to the laws of the Quran. He showed people the way to return to the purity of their faith. Sayyid Ahmad Shahid Sayyid Ahmad Shahid took a more practical approach towards freedom from the colonial powers. Sayyid Ahmad was educated at Waliullah's old madrasa. He then joined the Pathan army, specially studying the use of European artillery. First, he went to Delhi, where he gained many followers of his ideas about jihad or holy war. In 1821, he went to Mecca for Hajj and stayed there for 1.5 years. He returned to India to recapture the Muslim rule in Punjab and in WFP, now Khyber Pakhtunkhwa. But he was opposed by the people because he imposed taxes on those whose lands he had reconquered so as to pay for his large army. The people opposed him because they had never before been asked to pay taxes. The chief of Peshawar, Yar Muhammad, who pretended to be Syed Ahmad's ally, tried to kill him, and in a desperate battle with the Sikhs, he took his army away, hoping that Syed Ahmad would be killed. He did not die, however, but he was forced to retreat to Balakot to try and to liberate Kashmir. Here some traitors showed the Sikhs an undefeated gate to the town. They attacked and Syed Ahmad was killed in the fighting. Why did Syed Ahmad's movement fail? The campaigns were not organized because his army did not compromise of soldiers, lack of money, differences of opinion among his men. However, his ideas showed how people to fight for a cause. Said Ahmad Shahid died fighting and is buried in Balakot. Note your homework. Do reading of chapter number 13.